Okay, y'all, I'm just gonna say it. Tipping culture is trash, and everyone should tip on their orders. Everybody.
How much is the tip?
You gave an $8 tip.
What the hell are you looking for? I gave an $8.
Okay, I'm gonna bring the food back. I'm gonna bring the food back. Okay.
Okay. Is she fucking kidding?
What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. I'm the Young and Free Retiree, and let's talk about tipping culture.
Well, this is gonna make you mad.
This DoorDash customer only tipped $1. Let's see what he got at Arby's, huh? It's got the beef and cheddar and the crinkle fries. Oh man, that's my favorite. Thank you, $1 tipper.
First of all, those aren't crinkle fries, those are curly fries, you asshole. And you wanna know what's really toxic about all this? Other than the freaking hamburglar here? Tipping culture. It's getting out of control now. You gotta tip servers, Uber drivers. I swear I got a speeding ticket the other day and there was a place to add gratuity. And tips are great, but your salary shouldn't be dependent on it. These companies should pay their employees a living wage. The tips should just be a bonus. Whatever, I'm 90% sure this guy's video's fake anyway.
Y'all tip when y'all DoorDash? I didn't either when I was like 14 years old, 14, 15. I used to refund that shit. I used to never tip. When I went broke and I had to do DoorDash, instantly got the karma returned to me, bro. Having to go pick up a Big Mac, drive it halfway across the city, driving over potholes, going into risky neighborhoods. Y'all be living in the hood, bro. In the middle of the night, dropping off the food just to find out they didn't tip and you only made $3 for 30 minutes of your time. I'm telling you, if you're not tipping your DoorDash driver, you don't mind him breaking into your crib and punching you in the throat, bro. If you're not tipping, they're doing something to your food, bro. I'm telling you, they are.
Yo, y'all really out there eating people's food while y'all DoorDashing? That's crazy. But it makes sense because people are gross. People are mean. And so I can truly believe that they probably out there eating your food or doing some other disgusting thing to it because you didn't tip or you didn't tip enough to their liking. So it's for that reason. I don't think that first video was fake at all. Not one bit. Like, that's one thing my grandma, when she raised me, one of the many things I remember from her is she's like, there are certain people in the world you don't make mad. You don't pee them off. You don't make them mad. And it's anyone that handles your food. Because you never know what they're gonna do to your food if you make them mad. Like, you're mean to a waitress or anything like that. They can go spit in your food. They can throw hair in it. They can do all kind of unsanitary, nasty stuff to your food. Lick it, fart on it, whatever. So for whatever reason, I always try to be nice to people. But for me, I've never been a person that can use DoorDash. One, it's too expensive. I'm way too frugal for DoorDash. By the time you get to the end of the order, you have you start out with a cost of $10, and by the time you get to the end, it's like $20 or $30 at least in fees. It's kind of like when you buy a ticket on Ticketmaster or something. Like, you get initial costs and then you get all these extra costs just thrown in there. So I can never really bring myself to use any of those delivery apps. For me, too expensive. I'll pass.
I'm going to hit no tip every time. If I'm at Starbucks, Buffalo Wild Wings, or a place that you really not serving me, and you turn that little iPad around and says it's going to ask you a little question, I'm going to look you dead in your face, and I'm going to click no tip.
At the risk of being called broke, I got to ask. Can we all admit that this tipping shit has gotten out of control? And don't get me wrong, restaurants, I get it. Waitresses, waiters, I know y'all only making about 45 cents an hour. And that's crazy. So I get it. The minimum I tip is about 15%. And I could tip up to 100% of the bill. It just depends on how I'm feeling. The drunker I am, the more I'm finna tip. You understand me? But if I'm placing an order online for some food and you're making me pay online, like there's no option for me to pay at pickup, don't ask me for no damn tip. I ain't even seen the food yet. What? I haven't even seen the food. I don't know what's going on with the food. I could get there and it looked like trash. And I'm already tipped 20%. You got to be kidding. What? And not to mention you folks that be providing services. I just seen this video. This girl went to go get a massage. They asked her to pay for the massage before she got the massage. And then asked for a tip before she got the massage. And then got...
Yo, tipping before you receive a service, that's crazy. That's wild.
When she tipped like 10%. What? That's crazy. What be on y'all's mental for real? Why not just increase your... If you want the tip that bad, increase your prices.
Check it out, guys. This is how we pay here in America. You can see all the three options for tipping. 20% used to be the high end, 18% was okay service, and 15% was just, your baseline. But now they want 25%, which...
If you guys thought that was bad, look at this shit. 30% on the low end, mid-range 40% tip, and then 50% tip. These people are trying to charge us an extra half of the original price as tip. Now, this tipping culture is getting out of hand. Look, I'm all for tipping, except maybe when I'm going to pick up at a store. If I'm not sitting down in that store, I don't think there's any need to tip. Yeah, if you're sitting down at a store or you're getting food delivered to you, yeah, it's good to tip. Back in the day, 12 to 15% used to be like a really good tip. Now it's looking like you don't even have that options in some stores. Look at this. These restaurant owners are getting richer and richer while we as the customers, we have to pay the employee's salary. These corporations need to pay their employees a better salary, and they should stop guilt-tripping us into paying salaries for them. What do you guys think of this crazy rise in tipping prices or tipping percentages at the moment?
That is crazy. To tip for a service before you receive it? Like, what? They do that? No way. I'm sorry. To me, my tip is predicated on your service. Oftentimes, I'll tip almost a minimum 10%. If I go to, get a massage or go somewhere out to eat or something like that. Now, if I receive exceptional service, and I know it's subjective, it varies from person to person, but if I receive exceptional service, then I'll go up to like 20% or, even more. But it's not something that should be expected off top. And there's no reason why we as a customer should be forced to have to pay the wages of the workers. Like, I'm sorry, I just do not agree with that at all. Now, there's a thing out there that exists called guilt tipping, where when they spin that little counter around, they sit there and stare at you and expect you to tip. But let me tell you, I don't feel bad about hitting that button and saying no tip whatsoever. Because if I go somewhere to like a Starbucks, which I don't go to Starbucks, but any facility like that, when they have them at the counter and the person just turns around and picks something up and I have to pay for it, and I'm going through the transaction, they spin that little screen around and it has an option for tip. 0. Not at all. I'm not tipping, and I don't feel bad about it. And nor should you. Now, I know a lot of people give into it because they feel so bad because someone's watching them. I don't care who's watching. It can be a group of people watching me. I'm going to hit 0 tip. Sorry. Because I don't feel like there was anything done to receive a tip besides you just grab my bag, and that's something basic.
Reaction time. This edition is grad night. Do servers ever get tired of complaining about the tips that they get? You're not entitled to any of the tips. Like, your tip out could be 0. Tipping is customary. It's not required. 20 to 25% plus in a tip means you are doing an outstanding job. It does not mean that you're simply taking the customer's order, dropping off their food, and giving them their check. If that's all you're doing for your customers, no, you don't deserve a 20 to 25% plus tip. Sorry. Honestly, I blame COVID because remember during COVID, we were expecting very little from our servers, but we were tipping out of really just pity, really high amounts. I feel like this is where the entitlement of tips really came from. And I really think that servers should just be thankful that they get a 5% tip or a 10% tip or a 15% tip. Like, that means that the customer said, hey, here's the amount on my bill. I feel like I want to give you additional money to say thank you. Customers' thank yous are met with servers just showing the receipt and complaining that they didn't get exactly 20%. Like, this was a $10 on a $100 bill, and she like rates this like a 4 out of 10.
The only person that felt that way, like when I go somewhere and I feel like I do most of the work, and for someone to have the audacity to ask me for a tip, like, one, you already asking for a tip. Like, to me, you asking that means you probably didn't deserve one in the beginning. And if you did ask for one, like, and you felt that you deserved it, like, maybe the person they're broke, they can't afford it. And I can't stand it when people say, if you can't afford the tip, you shouldn't eat or you shouldn't order food. Look here, there's not one person on this planet that's going to dictate and tell me what I can and cannot afford. And you're not going to make me feel bad for it. And nor should anyone else. Like, I'm not saying use people to get over them or any way, by any means whatsoever. But if you cannot afford to tip, then, be generous, give what you can, but don't guilt shame someone into tipping. I just don't like it. Like, I always try to give people the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe they just don't have it. Or maybe they have it and they just felt like you didn't deserve it. Or maybe they're a Scrooge. Leave it in God's hands. Let God take care of it. He'll circle the block on them, take care of them. But if you did a great job, an exceptional job, and feel like you deserve one, trust me, God will ensure that you receive that and more. But then when you turn into a nasty person and start to belittle them or berate them or act out in some of the worst ways that some of these people are acting in these videos, in these upcoming clips, then you're kind of going to you're going to miss out on your blessing. That's just all it is.
So, little public service announcement for everybody that use a delivery-based service like Instacart, DoorDash, anything like that. But specifically, I'm talking to you Instacart people. Specifically, I need y'all ears to perk up right quick because I'm talking to you. If you order hundreds of dollars worth of groceries, heavy shit, 6 juices, 2 24 packs of Poland Spring, 3 18-count eggs and shit, you looking for fucking big old thing of rice, big old 5-pound, 10-pound, 20-pound of rice and shit like that, I'm gonna need you to be mindful and pay how you weigh. I need you to pay how you weigh. Because yes, Instacart does pay you for doing the shopping. They pay you for that, right? They pay you for the distance. But they don't pay you to pack the order correctly. They don't pay me to pack the order correctly, to not break your eggs, to carry the shit to your door. Them 3 packs of 24 fucking bottles of Poland Spring that's brought to your door that we're not getting paid for. That's what a tip is for. Hey, I ordered $400 worth of groceries and I tipped $5? $5? Because think about it. You ain't want to get your ass up and go to the store to get it, right? You didn't want to get up because you said, damn, that's a lot of shit. I'm going to order it, right? So you order it. Be mindful. There's another human that got to get your shit. So, again, if you I'm not talking about a small order. You getting 6 things. All right, if you don't tip on that, all right, cool, whatever. It's not a big deal. It's not taxing. But if you ordering 2 weeks worth of groceries in one shot, you better tip at least 15% minimum. If hundreds of dollars, at least 15% minimum. I'm not jacking nothing less, respectfully. So yeah, I'm gonna need y'all to be mindful that there's other humans out here picking your shit for you, getting your produce, all this other extra shit. Hundreds of dollars worth of shit, least you could do is tip 15%. Least you could do. On $300, 15% is $15, I believe. So, I mean, you really don't, it's not that much if you're already spending $300. And a lot of times, these people that use an EBT, whatever, I'm not shaming nobody, but I'm saying you're not really spending the money anyway. You might as well tip your driver. Tip the person that's delivering it to you. Just pay what you weigh. Pay how you weigh. That's all I ask. Just pay how you weigh. That order 20 fucking pounds, pay how you weigh, bro. That's all I gotta say. And I want to come back because I don't want anybody in the comments talking about, oh, well, I need to do Instacart because I'm in a witch. No, I'm talking about, no, because what happens is everybody that's not able-bodied, everybody that's elderly, that actually has that excuse, they tip. They tip on the app, and grannies always give me a little extra $5 in the tuck. Here you go, baby. It never fails. Somebody that, oh, I'm in a wheelchair, I need you to take this up the stairs, never fails. Great tip. I'm talking about you able-bodied ladies. So you got all these businesses hopping into this tip scene, and everybody's getting bombarded. Tip. You know, tip for this, tip for that. Why? So those people that actually do deserve those tips, they aren't getting them. Because before they ordered that food for delivery, that person probably got asked to tip at least 2 or 3 times throughout the day. So by the time they get home, they're tired and they're like, you know what, I don't feel like cooking dinner. Let me just order out. And they order their food and they're like, dang, all this, I just ordered a platter with this and that, and dang, this costs $23. Okay, whatever, all these fees and stuff. And then they get to the screen about leaving a tip for your driver. They don't want to see nothing else about no tip. And not to justify and say that, yeah, you know, if they constantly seeing tip, they shouldn't tip. But like I said, it's tip fatigue. You keep seeing something over and over and over and over again. You just get fed up and you're just like, I don't want nothing to do with it no more.
She's so right. Tip fatigue is a thing. And in today's society, we get so like overwhelmed and with tipping, like being encouraged to tip for everything in life now. Like, I don't know if you realize, like many people don't realize this, but I used to go out to the clubs a lot. I used to go to restaurants, not really restaurants, but mostly go out to the club with friends and everything like that. Like, you know, and one thing I think people don't realize about when it comes to the tipping is that if you look at the receipt on a lot of these places you go out to eat, and a lot of these places you go out for like clubs and drinks and just to kick back in lounges, they already include like a 15 to 20% gratuity. And usually it's in the small wording or it's right there on the receipt. And then another thing that they do is, so they will ask you for a tip, and people assume that the gratuity is not already included. If you look at your receipt, the gratuity has already been included, like 20%. So you're actually double tipping. That blew my mind when I realized that like a few years ago. And there's a lot of people, I'm sure, that still don't realize that. So you gotta be careful. Like, I'm not telling anybody not to tip or to tip. I'm just explaining this is my, my thoughts about it. And I'm sorry, but, and this goes for the lady in the other video. You chose that job. We all have choices in life. One of your most important choices in life is going to be which job you choose. It's going to impact you in so many ways. And by you choosing to be a gig worker or DoorDash and delivering food, you are putting yourself at the whims of the customer. And we all know not everybody's the same. So you chose that job. Hey, I'm not saying that's how I'm going to treat you with no tips, but you got to understand that's the risk you take when you become a gig worker, when you DoorDash. And I knew that when I started working DoorDash and doing Uber Eats. I made great money from it, but it's because I was selective with my choices and which meals and which deliveries I chose to. And you have to be the same way. I understand how it works, so that's why I empathize, but at the same time, I don't feel compelled to tip you more than I would normally tip, unless I'm just in a generous state, which occasionally happens.
Bro, I be doing Uber out here in LA, and one thing I know is that rich people don't tip as much as poor people or people who have less than them. I delivered to Homely Hills, Beverly Hills, Calabasas, any hills you can think of, and them people only tip like $2 or $3, mostly $5. And there's people who live in the hood or who have less than them be tipping me $10, $15, $20. I don't get that. Like, it's very reversed. I don't know, bro. I just don't know how you can have a tennis court, pool, grotto, all these cars and only tip $2. I'm not saying that, oh, maybe the customer service was bad. Nah, bruh. It's always a smile and how you doing and have a nice day. I don't know.
Hi.
Hello.
Come here, Max.
There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just want to say it's a nice house for a $5 tip.
You're welcome.
Sometimes you're going to receive good tips from people in the hood. You're going to receive good tips from people in nicer communities. Sometimes you're not going to receive tips at all from either side. A person's home and what they have is no indication of how much they're going to tip you or how generous they are. You just have to continue being, giving great customer service, being respectful and polite. You'll receive what is meant for you. Can no one stop that from happening? So I encourage people to always continue being nice and polite. Don't let the actions of someone else, because they didn't tip you or because they have a big home and they only paid you $5 and you think they should have paid you 20 or 30 because you think they have money. There are many people out here that are broke, living paycheck to paycheck, and that includes high income earners and people on the low end of the spectrum. So just because they have a nice home doesn't mean they have money in the bank. They could be scraping by just like you, like majority of America. 62% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. So there's a pretty good chance that those people that you're delivering to, they're scraping by just like you, and they probably put it on a credit card. They use Klarna, or they use, what's the other one out there? Apple Pay, or one of those other buy now, pay later. So they ain't even got it. But whatever you do, don't let that discourage you from being the nice person that you are. Because when you do that, you're going to miss out on your future blessings. Let's hop into this last video and wrap this thing up. Now, one thing I want to say about this last video, it presents an interesting twist on things. And it makes you think what if everywhere we went, tipping was structured as it is in this next video?
Hello. So at this restaurant, you will have to tip before your service. This way it will determine what kind of service you will receive. So what would you like?
That one they were sitting there.
All right, so it looks like you chose the 5%, which is the lowest quality of service. Yeah, I'm not really big on tipping. Totally understandable. So I'm actually gonna be back in 20 minutes to take your food order. I'm just about to go hang out. Oh, we're actually ready now. Nice. So I'll be back in 25. Oh, you just said 20. Bah! Who's counting? For you, anything, of course. Excuse me, can I have some ketchup for my fries? Did the kitchen not already give you some? Yes, but I ate it all. Oh, okay. Well, you can use this soy sauce instead, okay? Here you go. My steak and lobster are both really cold. They're ice cold. You know, I hate cold food, too. I can't stand cold food. I need my food hot, Yep, I hate cold food, too. Well, enjoy. All right, and then here's the box you wanted. Oh, can I have a to-go bag, too? You can't put it in that Gucci bag? My new $3,000 purse is in that bag. Just scoot the purse over to the side. It'll be all right.
Like I said, that clip presents an interesting twist on things. And if that was the way that things were structured in our society today, I would probably be one of those people that I'll go into it and probably start with the 10%. Not the 5%, because you're going to probably get the worst of the worst service, or the 0%. But I'll go 10%, because I know at least that's the minimum I'll probably tip regardless of the service. But you are still taking a risk. And the funny thing about this is that you go into some places and they expect you to tip 20%, 30%, and that's the type of service you receive. You receive the 5% tip service. And people, they will argue with you. They will look at you nasty. They will say that you're the problem. and not realize like your service sucks. That's why you should receive that 5% or 0% tip. Don't get me wrong, I always try to tip though. Always try to leave something. Not a goose egg. But anyways, that's enough for this topic. Make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe video. Always remember these two things in life. Put God first in everything you do, and live below your means today so that later in life you can live beyond your means. Y'all take care.